I'm showing on my screen right now the product order page for the EEK. And ESP32 by example EEK is available here. Actually, it will be available here once it's restocked. So that looks to be estimated at around beginning of January 2026. So hopefully we won't have to wait long for this to be available again. We did sell some of these right after the Expert Day session that Elector held in Germany in November. So let me show you the box sitting on my desk here. And this is, of course, the top. And if I open up the box, you can see that it will have these components. And the layering of the components, of course, may be different when you open your box. But what I'm going to do now is pause the video while I take the components out of the box and then put them on the camera view so that you can see them coming out of the box one by one. So I'm showing my tabletop now with the book having been put there out of the box. And I'm now going to go and do the other parts that are inside of the box. So there is a paper insert, which I'll go over in another segment that describes how you can enroll in the course itself. But the book and this paper insert are kind of the non-hardware items in the box. There is the PCB itself, Elector Labs branded. And the pin headers is where you plug in the daughter board. So I'm going to bring those over next. There is the ESP32. It's a kind of one offered by the company Adafruit. It's an older style ESP32, so it doesn't have some of the newer bells and whistles that some of the varieties of ESP32s come with these days. You have the OLED display. It's in a little plastic case. You have the MPU, which has 8 pins, and we'll plug that into the EEK in a couple of minutes. Initially, the DHT11 sensor isn't used as we get to explore the EEK, but later on when we get into the cloud aspects of the course, we'll be able to get temperature humidity off of this sensor. There is a USB cable that allows us to plug that EEK board into your computer. You might need an adapter if all you have is USB-Cs. This is still the USB-A end. When working with the DHT11, we're going to use push pins, and in fact, we include a little breadboard inside of the box, and we can use the push pins and the DHT11 plugged into the breadboard to make connections to the pin headers that are on top of the ESP32. So also included in the kit is a what's called a cheap yellow display, CYD, and there is a 240 by 320 TFT LCD on the top of that board. And on the bottom, there is another variety of ESP32. So we can use Wi-Fi connections or other connections to make traffic flow between the EEK and the CYD. And in fact, the CYD is what we'll be using as the hardware support for the simulated drone that we work with in the later parts of the course. And that's actually it. So let me just take a minute here while I have the pieces on display, and I took the little foam backing off of the ESP32, and I've opened up the OLED display, and I won't use the DHT11, so I'll take that away. And then let me just, maybe slightly off camera, I'm going to plug these pieces in to the EEK. So there I plugged in the ESP32 on the left side of the EEK. And I can kind of put it on display. And now I've plugged in the MPU 6050 right in the middle. And now I've plugged in the OLED display. There's a little protective cover here, which is showing a little glare. You can pull that protective cover off when you're actually starting to use your device. So at this point in time, this device is ready to be programmed using the IDE. And we'll start to do that in this unboxing video a little bit later on. So here I am back on the order page for the EEK, and not to dwell on the fact that it's not in stock. Hopefully it'll be in stock soon. But inside this box, there is a paper insert, which I've now taken a scan of. And let me just kind of show this insert. So those are the front and back covers. And then the next page has some details about what you're getting inside the box. So there is a list of the components, some of the learning objectives from the course. And then I want to call attention here to the fact that there's an online learning environment or course that's associated with the box. And you should get an email, as it says here, after you've ordered the product, that allows you to go to a URL where you can create your account. And if you have any questions, you can always email to academy-pro@elector.com. So let me show you what the course kind of looks like. That's the point of this segment. So here I'm looking at the course. You'll see something like this. I'm seeing this kind of in a preview mode as the instructor, but I believe the look and feel of the course as a whole will look the same to you when you're going through the modules. So on the left side here, you have a navigation mechanism. There are actually 19 modules altogether. Some of them are rather short, some of them are rather long. And module 1 is just getting started with the EEK. So here's what the printed circuit board, of course, looks like. Now you'll see textual information here. You'll see video information. Sometimes the videos are embedded, as this example is here. So if I click on the video, you see the video start up and it just plays inside of the lesson itself. Later on, there are standalone video segments. Let's see if I can find, I think there's one in module 9 right here. So IoT core account setup. So again, you see the video appear as part of the course itself. And some of these videos themselves are a little bit longer than others, but hopefully they supplement the words that are inside of each one of the lessons. And then within each lesson, there is, except for module 1 rather, there are resources. So I just clicked on module 2. And then this is where you learn about the LEDs and the general purpose input-output pins of the ESP32. So you would download the resources zip from here, and then that is broken down into separate lesson folders for each one of the individual lessons. So like right here, you see that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lessons. So sometimes a lesson doesn't actually have a resource file or collection associated with it. But in general, most of the lessons will have them. So if you want to practice what you see in the module lesson, then you would download these resources and then use it. Use the resource to do work with the EEK. So I'm going to show the out-of-the-box experience for the ESP32. Now, in order to do this, I'm making an assumption that I've got the IDE deployed and I've got ESP32 support included in the IDE. Right now, we're running Arduino IDE 2.3.6. But there is an example in one of the examples folder that's called Wi-Fi Scan. And while it might not be line for line the same, it's basically the same function as what you should see from the ESP32 Adafruit Feather that's part of the kit. So I've got the Adafruit Feather showing on my desk here, and I've got all of the pieces plugged in, the ESP32, the MPU, as well as the OLED display. And I just want to show if you plug it into the IDE Again, you would need the IDE enabled and set up for this. This is kind of what you should see. So I'm going to plug in the USB cable running to my computer. And so you see that the light on the MPU lights up, indicating that there's power. There's kind of a little artifact at startup here that dimly shows the yellow LED, which is benign. It doesn't affect the functioning of the PCB. And then if I go back to the IDE, I've already set this up so that I'm connected to the EEK through this particular serial port. And again, you'll have to look at the course lessons to understand a little bit more what's going on. But this is the program that's more or less running. And then this is the output that's coming through the serial monitor on the IDE. So in fact, let me reset the IDE, the serial monitor display. And then the program continues to run. And every few seconds, it scans the local Wi-Fi environment here for signals. And I'm living in a townhome community here, so there are lots and lots of signals. Some of these are mine, actually, because I have several Wi-Fi capabilities, and some of these are my neighbors. And again, this is what's running in the box. And maybe if you've never played with the ESP32 before, you might find this a little surprising. So again, that's the IDE talking to the EEK. And there's no OLED display, so that's not lit up. In the next segment, and really the last segment, I think, of the out-of-the-box experience, I'm going to show loading a sketch from the course onto the EEK that does something. So I'm back with the last segment of getting started, unboxing. So I'm still running the Wi-Fi scan that would be expected to be running on the Adafruit Feather by default. And now I want to take one of the sketches that are in one of the lessons. So I've got my browser, my Finder for the Mac open, and there are many lessons which I've downloaded, so they're all kind of here in this one folder. And I want to focus on lesson 5.6, and in particular the Blink OLED demo in lesson 5.6. And you can open this up in the browser typically by just double-clicking an INO file. So this is the sketch that was in that folder. And since I pre-connected this before, it remembers that this particular serial port is connected to an Adafruit Feather. So I don't have to do any reselection of the device. And now this continues to run the previous program, which is the Wi-Fi scan, but now I want to compile it. So I'm going to upload from the IDE. Again, I pre-initialized the IDE here with ESP32 support, and I found this sketch in my lesson folder, and I'm waiting for the compilation to take place. And this will be taking various amounts of time depending on how fast your computer is. So I have a pretty fast Mac here, so it shouldn't take very long to compile this sketch. And so we're still waiting for the compilation to complete. The EEK is still sitting over there. It's still running the previous Wi-Fi scan software. But I don't have the serial monitor open in this window. This window still has the serial monitor unrevealed. So I'm waiting for the IDE to connect through the serial port to, again, this same EEK that's connected. And we see the progress messages for uploading the software. And then now what I'm going to do, let me go back over here. I'm going to reset the EEK. There's a little reset button next to the USB connector, and I'm going to push down on that reset button. And so you see some startup messages here. And then now the program is running on that EEK. And each time the LED is illuminated, it says on and then off. The red one first, top red, and then the green one on, green one off. That's next. And so again, I just wanted to show that that's the process to grab a lesson sketch and then put it into your IDE so that you can have some experience running those sketches on your EEK. So you learn how to do all of this step by step by step by going through the course. the book, of course, is there as well as a resource for you to learn many more examples than the ones that are covered in the lesson resources. So hopefully you'll get started with this once you've got the kit in hand and downloaded the lessons and enrolled in the course. So good luck.